Hello, I'm Sebastian. Welcome to 9R Trees podcast. Today, I will summarize and review the book, The 300, The Inside Story of the Missile Defenders Guarding America Against Nuclear Attack by Daniel Wasserbly is a reported look at a small, high-responsibility community tasked with protecting the United States from a ballistic missile strike. Centered on the crews and leaders associated with homeland missile defense, the book explores how strategic deterrence and last-resort defense move from abstract policy into demanding daily routines, technical checklists, and split-second decision-making. Wasserbly frames missile defense not as a science fiction shield, but as an imperfect, continuously tested system that depends on people as much as hardware. Readers are introduced to the operational environment behind ground-based interceptors, radars, command and control networks, and the training pipeline that prepares defenders for rare but catastrophic scenarios. Along the way, the narrative highlights the pressure of constant readiness, the evolution of threats, and the public debates that surround costs, effectiveness, and escalation. It is a focused examination of modern national security through the lens of those who stand watch. I will give you key takeaways from this book. Firstly, a small force with an outsized mission. A central theme is how a relatively small cadre of specialists carries a mission measured in national survival. The book emphasizes the idea that missile defense is not a broad, widely visible enterprise like conventional forces, but a niche community whose work rarely makes headlines unless a test fails or a crisis erupts. That scale mismatch creates unique pressures. Personnel must sustain vigilance over long stretches of routine while staying ready for an event that may never happen but cannot be mishandled if it does. The story also clarifies what it means to be a missile defender in practical terms: shift work, strict procedures, continuous simulations, and accountability that reaches to the highest levels of government. By focusing on the human layer, Wasserbly shows that readiness is not only a function of technology, it is a culture maintained through training standards, evaluation, and team cohesion. Readers gain an appreciation for how selection, certification, and repetition build confidence under stress, and why fatigue, staffing, and retention matter as much as radar coverage. The result is a portrait of national defense as a lived profession, not only a strategic concept. Secondly, how homeland missile defense is built and operated. The book explains the moving parts of U.S. homeland missile defense in a way that connects systems engineering to operational reality. Rather than treating missile defense as a single weapon, it is presented as a layered architecture that depends on sensors, communications, command decisions, and interceptors working in sequence. Readers are guided through the roles of early warning and tracking, the importance of discriminating real threats from decoys or debris, and the complexity of turning sensor data into an engagement plan. The narrative highlights that an interceptor launch is only the visible endpoint of a long chain of processes, many of which occur under severe time constraints. It also underscores how testing and upgrades are integral to the system because threats evolve and software and hardware must keep pace. A practical takeaway is that missile defense is an enterprise of integration. Success depends on reliability across interfaces, disciplined procedures in the control room, and clear rules for how information is presented and acted upon. By grounding the discussion in operations, the book helps readers understand why debates about effectiveness often hinge on details such as sensor coverage, kill assessment, inventory, and the ability to sustain continuous readiness. Thirdly, decision-making under uncertainty and extreme time pressure. One of the most compelling issues the book raises is how defenders and leaders make consequential choices with incomplete information. A ballistic missile attack scenario compresses the decision cycle. Detection, classification, tracking, and engagement occur in minutes. Wasserbly explores how organizations prepare for that environment through doctrine, rehearsals, and checklists designed to reduce ambiguity and prevent hesitation or improvisation. Yet even with procedure, uncertainty remains. Sensor data can be noisy, adversaries may use countermeasures, and the cost of both action and inaction is enormous. The book presents missile defense as a field where human factors are decisive: communication clarity, teamwork, and the ability to manage cognitive load. It also shows why command and control is not merely a technical network, but a decision system that must support responsible choices at speed. Readers see how training tries to simulate the emotional weight of real events while still enforcing calm execution. This topic also connects to strategic stability. A system that must act quickly can influence crisis dynamics, making the quality of decision support, escalation control, and coordination with national command authorities especially important. Fourthly, testing, realism, and the limits of confidence. The book addresses the unavoidable gap between controlled tests and real-world combat conditions. Missile defense systems are evaluated through flight tests, simulations, and incremental upgrades, but no test can replicate every element of a surprise attack that includes uncertainty, deception, and complex trajectories. Wasserbly examines how the community builds confidence anyway by expanding test objectives over time, scrutinizing failures, improving modeling, and enforcing disciplined training for operators. The narrative brings forward the tension between the need for public accountability and the classified details that shape true capability. It also highlights why critics and supporters often talk past each other. Supporters may focus on demonstrated intercepts and deterrence value, while critics may focus on limitations like small inventories, potential countermeasures, and the statistical difficulty of proving effectiveness. By presenting missile defense as a constantly improving but inherently imperfect endeavor, the book encourages a mature view of security systems. Readers learn to interpret missile defense claims with nuance, recognizing both the genuine protective value and the engineering and operational constraints that remain. This balanced framing helps explain why missile defense remains a persistent, contentious investment in national security. Lastly, strategic context, evolving threats, and policy trade-offs. Beyond the control room, the book situates missile defenders within wider geopolitical and policy debates. The Homeland Missile Defense mission is shaped by changing threat portfolios, including concerns about limited attacks from emerging nuclear states and the complications introduced by great power competition. Wasserbly shows that capability decisions are not purely technical. They involve budgeting, basing, alliance reassurance, arms control considerations, and the risk that defensive deployments may be viewed as destabilizing by adversaries. The book also points to the challenge of aligning a last resort defense with deterrence strategy. Missile defense can complement deterrence by complicating an attacker's calculations, but it can also create incentives for an adversary to expand arsenals or develop countermeasures. These trade-offs filter down to operators, who must maintain readiness regardless of political shifts, while leaders must explain the system's purpose and limits to the public. Readers gain a clearer understanding of why missile defense sits at the intersection of technology, strategy, and perception. The topic reinforces the book's core message. Defending against nuclear attack is not only about intercepting missiles, it is about managing risk in a world where intentions, capabilities, and misunderstandings can change rapidly. In conclusion, this book is best suited for readers interested in national security, defense technology, military operations, and the human side of strategic missions, including policy students and informed citizens who want to understand what Homeland Missile Defense looks like beyond headlines. It can benefit a reader's life by sharpening how they evaluate high-stakes systems and public debates. You come away with a better sense of how readiness is sustained, how decisions are structured under time pressure, and how complex technology depends on training and organizational culture. That perspective transfers well to other fields where risk, reliability, and accountability matter. The book is also worth buying compared to similar works because it narrows in on the operators and the day-to-day realities of the mission rather than staying at the level of abstract strategy or procurement trivia. It connects the strategic purpose of missile defense to the procedures, constraints, and professional discipline required to execute it. If you want a grounded, operationally focused view of how the United States prepares for the worst-case scenario, this title offers a distinct window into a rarely seen community and the burden it carries. If you would like to support Dana Wasserbly, you can buy the book through the Amazon link I've provided in the podcast description. After reading the book, please let me know what you think and share your thoughts. See you around.